While this might not be the most famous picture from Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it is perhaps one that best captures the overall mood. This picture is from June 1st, 2022, at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, at the National Service of Thanksgiving during Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. Unfortunately, the Queen did not attend the service due to experiencing discomfort during the previous day's celebrations. The service marked Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's first joint public appearance with the royal family since stepping down from official duties in 2020, after the sensational and highly fictitious Oprah interview. And that is pretty obvious when you look at this lady right here, and this guy right here, and even this guy and that guy. All of these people are basically scowling at Harry and Meghan as they make their way to their seats. And Harry's expression looks a combination of regrets, petulance, and maybe a little confusion. Meghan, however, looks to be numbly trying to just proceed with a smile for the cameras anyway. Both of their appearance is a little stiff, but you'll recall on this day, not only were they getting the cold shoulder from everyone else at the Platinum Jubilee, thanks to their choices in the Oprah interview, but they were booed outside the cathedral, both before and after, most prominently after the service. That's where we got this gem of a picture. We saw multiple photos emerging of various members of the royal family literally turning their back on Harry and Meghan and not wanting to speak to them at all. The couple was sour, you'll recall, for not being allowed on the balcony or being allowed to engage in other more public appearances during this time. And at this particular service of Thanksgiving for the Queen, Harry and Meghan were meant to arrive at the same time as Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice. But instead, Harry and Meghan were late. Many people speculated at the time, the rumor at the time was that they were late on purpose so that they could have their own exclusive entrance. Well, that was a big mistake, because then it made an even bigger show and made it all the more obvious that Harry and Meghan had been sat far, far away from Prince William and Prince Charles at the time and the other senior royals. They were sequestered off in the third row, something that they seemed to take issue with when they arrived. So knowing the full context of this picture, and that these reactions from the crowd and from the people in the room and others around them are from and directly caused by the wounds that Harry and Meghan inflicted during the Oprah interview. While everyone was there to celebrate the Queen, it was difficult to ignore that Harry and Meghan had just been incredibly insulting to the Queen and her life's work, the monarchy. The distress that they caused the Queen and Prince Philip before he passed away is profound. But this picture really makes me wonder if Harry really understood the gravity of how badly he screwed up, or if he's still in victim mode here. Judging by Spare, which came out later after this, he was still firmly in victim mode, thinking that, oh, everybody is just so mean to me. And honestly, when you look at his face with the perspective that we learned in Spare that he has, he very much seems like he's kind of being like, well, you people are just so rude and unfair to me anyway. I don't care that you're mad about Oprah last year. At the same time, I find it hard to fathom that someone in this circumstance, how uncomfortable it must have been to walk through these people all seated after Harry and Meghan had delayed the process unnecessarily, showed up late, complained about their seats, been horrible to their family, that he wouldn't understand to any extent that they're mad at him for his bad choices rather than his typical victimhood that he's being treated unfairly. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and let's move on to the next photograph. Later that same year, when Queen Elizabeth passed away, this photograph was taken when Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince Harry, and the Meg engaged in a walkabout to thank well-wishers on September 10, 2022, outside Windsor Castle. The appearance was a surprise, initiated by Prince William, who invited his brother and sister-in-law to join him and Catherine to view the floral tributes left by the public. While the joint walkabout was viewed as a significant show of unity during a difficult time for the family, marking the first time the four had appeared together in public since March 2020, because remember, at the Platinum Jubilee, they were not pictured with Catherine or William at all. The last time they were all pictured together was Commonwealth Day in March 2020. So this walkabout marked Meghan Markle's first public appearance with Prince William in over 2 years, and her highly guarded expression came under intense magnification by the global press. Her tight jaw, her wide eyes, her slightly downturned mouth pointed to underlying stress and apprehension about the high-stakes public reunion, or perhaps being in the public after she had been so terrible with the Oprah interview. What makes this picture all the more interesting is knowing the full story that we now have heard. After William extended the invitation for the walkabout, Meghan apparently delayed this by over an hour, by some accounts 2 whole hours, so she could do hair and makeup. While I understand that it's a scenario where these photos are going to be prominently featured and part of history, it's a big deal, I also feel that when there are bigger circumstances at play, makeup and hair are not the most important things. If you have to just tie your hair in a ponytail and slap on a tiny bit of foundation and mascara, so be it. Better to look more simple, for lack of a better word, and be on time, especially during a time of grief, and be able to show respect than to stress everyone out and make people wait and be disrespectful just for your own vanity. But that is what ended up happening. While the press interpreted Meghan's tension as having something to do with it being her first, joint appearance with them, knowing that she delayed the whole thing adds a different layer to this photograph. It makes it seem like a lot of her tension probably had to do with the fact that she delayed the process. But additionally, more sinisterly perhaps, Harry and Meghan knew at this point what was in the Cut interview, what was in the Netflix series that they did. That they doubled down on all their claims from the Oprah interview and had thinly veiled threats of continuing to spoon out the drama as they went on. Because they knew what was coming within months of the Queen's passing, perhaps that added to the levels of discomfort. Her behaviors during the walkabout were just as annoying as they are to witness now, but given the circumstances that it was a walkabout for Queen Elizabeth's passing, her husband's grandmother and Prince William and Catherine were the ones who graciously, patiently waited for her and allowed them to come and join them, probably as an honor to Queen Elizabeth's memory. Meghan's body language should have been a lot more controlled and filtered. She should have been tapping and touching and clinging to Harry a lot less. Some people speculated that she tried to look fearful of Catherine and William, which by some photographs, it would appear that she was trying to convey such a message. I personally think it's a combination of discomfort from the situation of knowing that she made these people wait, that she knows she and Harry have these projects coming out that are going to rub salt in the wounds, and these people extended a courtesy to her. And even though she has a reputation as being very high in narcissism and lacking all manner of awareness and compassion, even the most cold of people can get uncomfortable when someone is nice to them, when the person who they are actively working against is nice to them. And I think that that explains a little bit of Harry and Meghan's vibe here, that they were in pure defense mode. They knew that they have the Netflix series and interviews and Spare in the works where they're just saying horrible things about Catherine and William and painting Catherine and William in exaggeratedly bad lights after the Oprah interview, that they've just been horrible to these people who have done nothing to retaliate or defend themselves at all. And those are the very people who extend them a kindness to come along for the walkabout and are patient to the extent of waiting up to 2 whole hours past when they agreed to go and show up, to be kind in a time of grief and familial stress. And that conflict of these people are being very nice to us and we are actively working against them to hurt them unfairly is what's showing up on their faces in some of these moments, in my opinion. But leave your opinion in the comments. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Story Behind the Picture. What photographs would you like to see featured next time? Let me know below. Have a happy day, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.